months ago, I made a new friend. Right when I needed it. Best friend's been there. He's been through it all before me. What happened next is truly for the books. This man opened his heart, he opened his heart to me. He opened his heart for you. So no matter what, no matter what, you've got to roll. Yeah, you can't go slow. Get through this time we're living in. Get your updates from Wages World. You may find yourself in the mirror, quoting yourself, you're looking for answers. Get your space weather from Wages World. The Wages World. Go get it all from Wages World. You check it, you gotta see me coming at me. Gotta get on by 3, gotta tell the world, get ready, cause you don't know what's coming. If we're gonna shut down, no, but I'm gonna give it to you. If we can, we're going to be prepared. Get your prep on the Wages World. Get your funk with the Wages World, yeah. Maybe we'll have a little Hammerlin Jameson on Wages World, yeah. There's just one show you got to catch. It's Wages World. There's just one show you got to catch. It's Wages World. My brother Wages. Down and into the brother Wages. Down and into the brother Wages. Yeah, get the Wages World, yeah. See me, come up at 3, you gotta get home, get yourself charged, cause you don't know, gonna take you out, gonna just drop you off the face of the world, to the Wages World. Tune in to get your updates. Oh, your updates, Wages World. The Wages World. On the Wages World. On the Wages World. Now you get your updates from Wages World.
Hey guys, what's up? Hope everybody's having a good one. Stop in and do a show real quick. I do want to address a couple things before I get going here. Guys, I try to do the best I can with the chat, and I do feel like I need to explain sometimes, and I know sometimes that bugs people, but we have to control that chat, and I 100% trust my moderators. So anybody insinuating or thinking that I don't, you're wrong. That's just what I'll say to that. When they ban somebody, I won't unban them unless it's a really extreme situation. So just know that. I trust my mods. I just like having a connection with you guys. And that's really all I'm going to say about it. And anybody that's been with me for a while knows that. I have a very open chat. And I guess there were some issues with comments or something not being seen or something last night during the show. Guys, this right here is my personal chat box. So if any comments get blocked or anything like that, you guys are going to see it right here with me. Most creators have this hidden. This is out here for you guys to see, because I simply don't think that needs to be hidden. If somebody, I guess that if it could help the moderators. So if my moderators have an issue with it, I will be more than happy to hide this chat, because I don't want you guys to get harassed because of banning somebody or whatever. But yeah, so we will just get to going here, and I am going to put this away. You guys have, I do trust my mods. So there you have it. Anybody that thinks otherwise, I think probably is not thinking the correct way. But anyway, I have a very open chat, and I really kind of pride myself on that, because not a whole lot of people do. I welcome everybody, and I welcome all ideas. I don't necessarily agree with all ideas, but I do welcome them, and I do talk about them, and I do let other people have their say. So if you don't like that kind of a open forum, I guess, maybe my chat is not the place for you. I don't know what else to say. So anyway, guys, I'm going to get going here. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just do that real quick. Okay, so the Schumann, guys, not really a whole lot going on here. We've had a couple things here. I seen Verte in the chat there, guys. Go over, Verte. You can drop your link anytime you want in the chat there, guys. He is probably one of the most knowledgeable people I know on this subject, and I say that a lot. And I say a lot for a reason, because this is very important to know. We got to understand that this affects us greatly. When this starts messing up and doing a whole bunch of crazy stuff, this is, when our world starts doing whatever it's going to do, you're going to see it here first, and it's going to stay here. And when this thing does start doing its thing, you're going to know it. Everybody's going to feel it eventually. And, I'm sensitive to this anyway. I get ringing in my ears quite often, and almost every time I come over here and I'll look at either this tool or the other one that I know of, and this will be either spiking or something weird will be going on. I'm just real sensitive to it. So some people are, some people aren't. But what we're looking for here is a 7.83 hertz. That's really biologically what our minds are kind of used to. And, there's a whole lot of science behind all that too. And I'm not going to get into all that. But right now, not a whole lot going on with this thing. Okay. Again, this is a regional tool. We have to understand that. This tool itself can be affected by weather. Their local weather over in Russia where this is at. So we have to keep that in mind when looking at these things. You see a big spike on here, it might not necessarily have anything to do with you at all. Your part of the world might not be having anything. If they're having a big thunderstorm, or if they've had a big snowstorm over there messing with their equipment and all that kind of thing, it affects this. So we have to try to keep that in mind when we're looking at this thing. Okay? That's just my point there. But other than that, yeah. Now, well, yeah. That's crazy. I wasn't expecting to see that, but okay. Yeah, I don't know what the heck is. I don't know what's going on there. Hold on a minute, guys. Sorry. I don't know why this window is staying on top of my taskbar. That doesn't normally do that. So hold on a minute, guys. I'm sorry. I gotta fix this. Sorry. It will bug me to death if I don't. I don't know why it's doing that. That's ridiculous, but okay. I'm just gonna have to leave it like that, I guess. Let me do this real quick though before I do that. Pop that out. Put that there. Okay. So, yeah. Let's do that. Okay, now we're back in business. There we go. All right, I just wanted to get that out there. It was messed up, but we've had another flare. I didn't see this till just now. So this sunspot that's going on right now is flaring. This was like a C4.8 flare, and it definitely was substantial. And it's directly Earth facing. It did hit Earth. The X-rays have already hit us. Okay, we had some small radio blackouts and stuff going on. It didn't do anything geomagnetically. Okay, not yet. Now, there was some eruption with it too, which would have been the plasma. Here is that sunspot. It's substantial, and it's starting to become more and more unstable as we talk. When this thing was over here, where this one is now, this thing was flaring. Like, I'm talking like M-class flares over here. Okay, and it was doing it on the same side of the sunspot, and it's now flaring basically in the same kind of way. So we're gonna have to watch this thing. It definitely is sending stuff our direction. Right there, look, there was another one. Look, that one just happened. That's why I was sitting here talking to you. That's as big as the other one. So now we got two C-class, probably a C4 at least. That second one there. And again, guys, C4 class, they're not like massively disruptive, okay? They do cause radio blackouts. Ham radio operators and emergency responders will definitely notice it in their radio and their communications. Okay, so, yeah. But anyway, as you're looking at this is this is the first C-class flare. Okay, this is the X-ray hitting us. Okay, watch it hit. I'll just do it real slow here. Okay, you can go over here and look at the dBs on it and see how strong it was. Again, this is what we would typically see. And why did the United States see radio blackouts? Because we were facing the sun when the flare hit. This is where the radio blackouts would be. Over here, nothing. Over here, radio blackouts. Okay? So, and again, guys, this isn't like a extremely large flare, but it is substantial, and we need to talk about it, okay? That's why I do. Now, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to update this page because we did get another flare just a few minutes ago. Like I said. Let's update this and see what we get and see if it shows up down here. Yep. So now they're going to get over here. They may be experiencing radio blackouts, which, guys, that's not good right now. Let me tell you why. This is that area of the world that had the 7.3 earthquake in China. Not only were there 7.3 earthquakes, there were multiple 6s afterwards and good distance apart from them. So let me show you that real quick. Okay, yeah, look, they're firing off again, and it could have something to do with space weather. Yeah, the initial 7.3 or what have you is this one right here. And anytime I've shown you guys this USGS a lot, anytime you see this pager one that's not green, you always want to click on it because really this is the most important information that we really want to know because this is how it's affecting people. Estimated fatalities. Typically, it doesn't even show like a 13% chance of having a 10 to 100 people passing away from this, or a 1 in 10 chance, 1 to 10 people passing away, 35%. But this right here is showing you that this hit in a populated area most likely, and it did. Okay, there was some population where this thing hit. That's why they're saying in millions of dollars, 100 to 1,000 millions, okay, 34% chance that that's what's actually happening over there right now as we talk. So that's, this is very substantial. We can't ignore stuff like this because it definitely is something that, it's affecting people, guys. And check this out. This is right smack in the middle of China. Now, the last bigger earthquakes that I remember seeing up here were up here towards Mongolia. And there's an area up here that gets quakes quite often. I don't want to say quite often. It gets it like regularly quakes, but if you're going to see it away from fault lines and things, we do see them up here sometimes. Now, this is a substantial distance apart. For this to be a 7.3, no quakes from here to here, and then one to hit down here that's like it was a 6.1, I think. Yeah, 6.1. Okay, so now we're talking about a whole different area of China. We click on the pager button there, and what do we see? Almost the same kind of percentages of damage. Now, the estimated fatalities, there's not as many fatality possibilities here. But, yeah, George, it's a good point, guys. We all know what happens here, guys, okay? Never do they post anything here at USGS that they don't downgrade. They always do it. I don't know. I really don't know why. That and, you always question. You got to be skeptical of everything, right? At least you got to be, I guess what I want to say here, and this might sound a little crazy, but an educated skepticism. And what I mean by that is, you can't go too far with it either. And I think that, Ron does a good job of kind of keeping that reeled in and not going too crazy with it and being real about it at the same time. And I think that's a good tool for him, and that's a good trait that he has. And, so and again, that's my opinion of Ron. And, everybody's welcome to have their own, and I'm sure he would welcome them all too. Him and Terry over there do a really good job of trying to report on all this stuff because it does get kind of hectic sometimes. Now, the question with me is, was this space weather related? Well, I most definitely think it was. We definitely were having issues, geomagnetically, flaring. Now, look at this. See, look, that flare just hit over here, guys. And all of a sudden, we start getting these earthquakes again. Now, mind you, yes, these are aftershocks, okay? But that flare could actually have caused, kind of gave that a little bit more jolt. It's kind of interesting that it's flanking to both sides of it, and they're both the same size. That's really interesting to me. Look at that. And they hit, let's see here, 11 minutes apart. Really, really crazy. Crazy stuff. Starts out in automatic by a computer, and then it gets fine-tuned. Yes, you're right, Franny. 100% you're right. And that's where, honestly, sometimes that's where the skepticism kind of bleeds into there, because as soon as you add a human element there, you add a degree of error that might not have been there in the past, number one. Number two, you have to understand that, there's a lot of people out there, whether we want to say it or not, that aren't really doing it for the right reasons. And I don't usually talk about that kind of thing because it's not really what I do here. And I'm not going to continue to talk about it. But we have to understand that sometimes that's what's going on. I'm not going to, just start blasting because I don't know. I can't say for sure, or I would. Yeah, I mean, it does. You're right. Some of that is correct. But here's my thing, though, Franny, with what you're saying there. That's why it gets changed. What's up, Tom? I don't, every earthquake almost always gets downgraded by a 0.2 or more. So there should be some way, in my opinion, with today's technology to get rid of that kind of a thing. Or why not wait until you do the math? Because let's face it, guys, if you're in an earthquake area and you get hit with an earthquake, are you running straight to USGS? No. You're running around trying to make sure that you're okay and so are your loved ones. So why does it matter if you wait an extra half hour, or whatever it takes to get a little bit more of an accurate, number to put out there before you just, yeah, you're right. The computer is very general. Hey, Bobby, what's up? I agree with everything you're saying, Frank. I really do. But I like I said, I want to point it out there that why can't they just wait? The rest of the world doesn't need to know right away unless there's a danger for another part of the world. That's the only time. I mean, there's no reason not to wait just a few minutes. Everybody wants things like right now. And if they just waited, they could get rid of that. They could really get rid of that kind of discrepancy. And you know what that does at the same time? It gets rid of a lot of that distrust, because, you know, when you go in and change a number, that automatically draws attention to that. And I just don't, you know, with today's technology and all those kinds of things, I don't see how they can't make that better. And that's just my opinion, guys. Okay, that is Wages World's opinion on something. Again, can I 100% say anything on that? Yeah, you're right. It does. You know, the computer's doing everything there up until the point where somebody is drawn to look at it, and then, yeah, for sure. And again, I'm not saying that this is easy. I wouldn't want to have to try to come up with the correct calculations for an earthquake. I wouldn't want that responsibility. That's a big responsibility. And, you know, and obviously people take it serious. I mean, that's not what I'm saying. You know, and what do we do? You know, this is what we have to work with anyway. So it really doesn't, at some level, doesn't really matter a whole lot. And if they're going to drop at 0.2, okay, I get it. But yeah. So yeah. But again, so we got other ones over here too popping off. You know, we got a 5.5 there. We had one down here was a 6, I think, a 6.5 down here. And these are all popping off today. This is not like just localized. This thing is, you know, this is why I think that space weather had some effect on this. These are not small. These are substantial quakes that all happened today. These are all within a 24-hour time period. And again, we would be remiss not to say that, you know, they're doing more and more studies, guys. They really are, on trying to tie what can we do to, you know, help predict the earthquakes better. And they are incorporating space weather a lot more. It's just, you know how long it takes. You got to get peer reviewed and all that kind of thing. It takes forever. But finally, people are starting to do it. They're starting to wake up to that, and I'm glad. So anyway, flaring. We'll just do this real quick. Actually, guys, let me show you I'm going to put that away, though. That was some good. I like that conversation, Franny. Thank you for that. That was a good conversation, because I think everybody needed to hear that stuff. So, thank you. Let me show you the flare that was happening here. Now, you're not going to see it real well on this one. And again, guys, sometimes you see it better in different angstroms. And I try to show it to you all, but sometimes you can't. This is the 171, and it's coming from right here. I'll leave my cursor there. Okay, you see it little puffs and sparks and all that. And that was the first C4 flare right there. See that? You can see it flare right here, and then you can see the magnetic connection line, which is basically it's a filament, and it lifts off. It snaps off right there. Okay, it goes like it's connected here, but when it flares, it breaks that connection and flicks it off. So I'll back it up. You guys see that? And I'll show it to you on the 304 because you can really see it well on that one this time. And you see how the rest of the atmosphere of the sun here got disrupted? Now with this, yeah, then did you see that? You can see it ejecting out this way. Okay, those are all little flares. Okay, and plus there's some eruptions here too. And I'll show it to you on the 304 here in a second, but I want to show it to you here because this 131 is showing this flare really, really well. Let me zoom in a little bit more here for you guys. And this is a classic flare signature that I show you guys before. This is my thumbnail. You got it like an X pattern looking thing with straight lines from north to south usually. And this is not an X flare. This is just what the flares look like on the tool. Sorry about that. I'm hiccuping a little bit. Sorry about that. But you can see obviously. And what you'll see is you'll see little hash marks here too. They're like, that's just how this shows up in this in the camera. So let me I'll roll this back and forth for you so you guys can see it. So as I go forward here, see it starting to erupt, and then bam. Okay, you're talking, that's how quick it happens. I think it was like 2 or 4 minutes or something like that. Yeah, about 4.5 minutes. From that to that, 4.5 minutes. And then 8 minutes later, whatever X-ray was released right there, hit us. Okay? So as I go forward here, you can even actually see it kind of still spitting and sputtering out here in this direction. See that? That was another little flare. And what I'm going to do, because we had another one, I'm going to see where it came from. I'm going to update this and see what we get. See if it shows it yet. Let's take it here to the end. Whoa, look at that, guys. Wow. Check that one out. Woo-wee. Heck yeah. That is, yeah. Woo, I didn't really expect to see that. Just so you guys know, you probably couldn't hear it in my voice, could you? Check it out. Wow. See, that's what I said. You guys are looking at this for the first time with me. This just happened, guys. So, you know, there's no way anybody had any, like, warning for this. But, that is, yeah. I have to say that is, substantial. Look at that thing. So as we go forward here, and if you guys remember, I told you guys about 3 or 4 days ago that we were having a flare watch. You know what I mean? I said that. It's like, because I seen this thing and what it was doing on the limb when it was over here. And it was doing big stuff. And that's what I'm saying. Look at that. And look, guys, this is really not really, I don't like seeing this kind of thing. I don't know what direction this is going first off, okay? So I can't say for sure that this thing's coming at us. What I can tell you for sure happened, there was another flare about the same size, and we got impacted with the X-rays again. Okay, that did happen. I just showed you all that. But this filament that is involved with this eruption could be a CME with it. It does look like it did erupt off. You see that right here? Watch what it does as I'll back it back up. And you can see it kind of, again, see all this kind of hanging back, and it's flicking out as we're talking. See that? Okay, that's a CME with that flare. Now, if that's coming directly at us, that could give us some issues. Now, we would have to, I'm not saying that it's going to. I just don't know yet. I'm looking at it for the first time. So, you know, and, you know, if we're going to talk about C-class flare, typically the CMEs that are involved with those aren't, like, massively disruptive to us. They can be, just depending, but, you know, most people, and I think that we really try to kind of get away from this a little bit. We always want to go back and compare things to, like, the Carrington event. I think that's a mistake, because this is nowhere near what a Carrington event would look like. It's not even in the same zip code, okay? It's just not. You know, if there was a Carrington event size flare, CME with it, coming at Earth, yeah, I would be really interested to see what there were some similar ones that we thought might have been Carrington strength that fired off the backside on the side of the sun. I think it was back in, was it 2017? I can't remember. They weren't fired at Earth, but they were big, and they came in even really high in the X-class flare range, but they weren't pointed at our detectors. And we still picked them up as X-class flares. So that should tell you that was some strong stuff. You know, we really dodged some bullets there. You know, and again, guys, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. It will happen. And I know that I don't usually say that a whole lot anymore because I don't want to, you know, entice fear or anything in anybody. But we got to be real too, you know. regardless of how bad I get beat up in the comment section. I don't care about that. I got thick skin. I can deal with it. Not a big deal to me. But yeah, so you guys can see all that, right? Now, let's go up here on the 304, and this is really where you're going to see the filaments, and this is where the geomagnetism comes into play, okay? And what that means is, we're talking CME stuff, filaments releasing, those kinds of things. That's really what gives us the biggest issues, okay? The x-rays, yes, though, and we can get radiation storms with these too, okay? I didn't see any of that yet. I didn't see any of the graphs showing anything, any kind of the tools showing any of that, but that does happen, okay? Not every time, obviously, but it does happen. But my main concern are CMEs. If we're talking about like catastrophes and stuff like that, that's really what we're looking at. Typically, big CMEs will be accompanied, or vice versa, accompanied by a flare also. So, there's the first CME or flare there. Notice over here too, okay, we got another spot getting ready to crest over. And this thing ain't no slouch either. You see that one? Look. That's a flare too, guys. Okay? It's just not over here in the front, facing us yet. We did get some x-ray from that. So this is something we're going to have to keep our eye on, because we're going to have two spots looking at us for a while at the same time that are active. Hey, Ricky, what's up? So here is, that was like the initial. Okay, so let me take this back. All right, so here is that's the first C-class flare. Now I'm going to zoom in here, okay? And we're going to take a look at this a little bit stronger. And what you're going to see, we're going to look for dark shadows. And what those are filaments, basically, lifting off. And when they lift off, that makes them a CME. It's plasma leaving the sun, okay? Let me do this real quick. So here's the flare. Now watch what happens afterwards. Look for the dark shadows. Okay? You see them form right here, right? Watch what happens. See that shootout right there? Now I can't tell you if much of that left the sun yet. But what happens here next, I can say pretty confidently that, yeah, some of this is leaving the sun. Let me show you. Go forward. See that kind of little smaller eruption there? Now watch this big jet. Okay, see there was another small little flare CME action going on right there. But watch what happens after this. See that? Look at that. That wasn't part of the main flare. Okay? You see what that's doing, right? I hope you guys can see that, correct? I know sometimes I assume that you guys can, and I guess I shouldn't assume that. But there we go. We're in even further there. How about that? That probably helps. See that? What's that look like to you? Looks like a jet engine, doesn't it? At least it does to me. But you can see how that is definitely, I mean, yeah. Now, if we're going to look at this, and this is, guys, this is two-dimensional, and it's representing something that's three-dimensional, so we really can't tell what direction this is going. Now, I know that it looks like it's pointed that way, okay? But you got to think about how we're looking at this, like I said. This actually could be coming, like, towards us. It does look like it's firing off more towards the north. That I can say. So if it is coming our direction, this part of it could be sailing north of Earth. But not 100% on that, so I'm not going to sit here and claim that. But when we're looking at this, we can't tell really if it's actually going that way, back, kind of firing straight up or even kind of at an angle away from us. It's hard to tell on these, okay? Now, general, from what we've seen in the past, this direction here, they will spread out kind of like buckshot as they get further away from the sun, just like light does. You can see how that's doing that, right? So, it's going to spread out. So depending on what exact direction this is going will be the determining factor whether or not we get any kind of a hit from that. Now, I can tell you right now, the CME tracker is not going to update this thing yet. That thing has been running way behind anyway. I don't know why, but it is. It has for some time now. Now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to update this one, guys, so we can take a look at that second flare, okay? And let this thing do its thing here real quick. So let's, come on, man. What's taking so long? All right, come on. Quit puttering along. Let's do it. All right. Let's go back up here. And we'll take it to the end of the time lapse. Now look for this last one. See that right there was the one I just showed you, right? That little jet action we got going on there. So let's see what happens after that. We should see another flare here. Look at that. Now, that, like I said, it came in, as far as x-rays go, about the same size as the other one. But this does look like larger as far as total size. Not necessarily strength, but just size of it. You can tell because this is picking up like really definitive markings here. Hey, Body and Soul, what's up? What's up, Tab? CW is in the house. All right. But yeah, so I'll go forward here. Yeah, see, look, guys. Now, I don't have much more to go off of here, but you can tell, like right here. Watch what happens right after the X goes away. We'll back it up. Watch the dark, the shadow kind of pop out here, and it looks like it's moving like down. And a lot of times, if you're looking at something dead on, if it's coming right at you, sometimes it'll look like it's going straight down. So, but I'm not claiming that it is yet. I don't know yet. And what I'm saying here is, after that X, you can see this whole area is disrupted. Okay? So, yeah, you can see that after that flare right there, it kind of centers right there. And it's all kind of fanning out. So, my gut tells me that this is probably going to give us some sort of a blow. I don't know for sure. I just want to, but I do think it's a strong possibility at this point because of the location of the flare. Anything that's even halfway equatorial and right in front of us is always a risk of hitting us. And just to give you guys kind of a size comparison, you're probably looking at, oh man, if I had to guess, 30, probably, I don't know, maybe 10 to 20 Earths inside that right there. So that should let you guys know really how big that this thing actually is. You can see all these filaments too, guys. This is just showing more and more activity on the sun. And it's not going to slow down. It's not going to go back the other way. And again, I've said that quite a bit. Now, let me update this one. We haven't looked at this one yet. I want to update this one because this one will really show the atmosphere of the sun getting disrupted. Now, I want to see what this one looks like because, or even this one. I don't think we looked at this one yet either. I'll just update it all. Let's do that. Sorry. Well, I guess we could do the purple one over here too, the 211. It actually shows some pretty good capture sometimes. It'll show some pretty good explosions. Okay, so let me pause that. Let's get here. Let's see what this does now here on that second flare. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to... It's probably coming at us at least a little bit, guys. Just the way that direction is. You can see how it's kind of centered here. And again, it's flicking off that way. And, unless it's going to sell well south of us or north or whatever, I don't see us dodging that one completely. See how it does that? That's why I wanted to show you guys this one, because you can see how even the material from way over here, it's getting flicked. If you can just kind of picture in your mind like a whip, how it would extend out. So if you picture that, when it gets to its apex, that's when it's going to release. So when it releases out this way, it's actually kind of directed more towards Earth because of that. So, yeah, and that's substantial, guys. That's a substantial flare. So with the CME after, okay, and that makes it just that much more interesting. At least I don't want to say it's like bad, because it not necessarily is. We're just got to kind of wait and see. Now this one, wow, check that out. That one's cool. Yeah. You can see the atmosphere here. Now it's getting disrupted and pushed out. That definitely broke off, I think. I don't think that really has much of a chance of going back to the sun. I think it was strong enough that at least some of that's going to blow off. All right. And again, I'll try to keep you guys updated on that anyway. I always try to. I don't always succeed on that, but I try, guys. I really do. My daughter, in case you guys were wondering, I talked about it before. One of her friends had the global sickness is what we'll call it. And then my daughter started running a fever, I don't know, 3 or 4 days ago. So I had to take her to get tested today. She's not feeling real well, which has actually kind of got me a little worried. But let's watch this. Okay, yeah. This is what I mean about the 211 showing really how big the shock wave is here. Watch it basically just cover up this whole part of the sun. You can see it hit out and just like, boom. See that? See how it even disrupts it as far over as this? So that's telling me right then and there that if this thing doesn't go south, we'll take a little bit of a hit from that. Wham. So, and again, we'll wait for all the tools to update before we start, back at you, Muse, back at you. Before we start making any kind of, thanks, Daniel, appreciate that. Before we start making any kind of, definitive, hey, this is coming at us, that kind of a thing. So, yeah, we got this, yeah. So, I really didn't expect this to go on this long, guys. Sorry. With that second flare, it did take a little bit. Yeah. Jordan has no power, internet, or phones right now. Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, when you're talking about that, you're talking about the Middle East, right, Ricky? We all know what's going on over there. Thanks, Trish. Appreciate that. Anybody else, too? Thank you. But yeah, that would be, well, let's go back here for a second. Yeah, Jordan's kind of over here, so it really didn't take like a big blast from the x-rays, but it doesn't mean anything. But yeah, I would, if they don't have any power and stuff over there right now, I would be a little concerned for that just because of the conflict that's going on over there right now. Definitely makes you want to stop and be like, hey, what's going on? Yeah, we're really not seeing a whole lot geomagnetically, so I'm not really going to go there right now because this is going on way too long already. Let's see here. This is Lasco C2 from Soho. And guys, we don't have any more information after about 1,400 hours, so we don't even get to see the first flare. Now, did I show it to you here? Oh, that's what I forgot to do. Okay. And this is a good way for me to show you guys something, okay? People, they assume that the data's missing. Like, say we go over here to seeds, right? This is LASCO C2. This is on the SOHO satellite observatory, which sits out in front of Earth, always watching the sun, right? So if we were to go by this right now, the latest capture we got is at 1440 or 1524 on the 21st. But if we go back to ISWA and look at the same tool, we got more data. Okay, we have to understand that this is the same data, but these are two different websites. They're two different entities, okay? So they put their information out how they want to. And when they do and how they do it is dependent upon their programming and their software and their system. So before we go saying that we're missing time or, hey, this isn't there, we can't see anything, you have to understand that this is the exact same tool. Exact same thing. It's just now we got more data here. Matter of fact, I'm going to hit the update button on that one, and we're going to take a look at it. Okay? So what you're going to see is you're going to see that first flare because I already showed it to you. Right about there. See that? That's that first flare. Okay? Now it looks like it's going to the right, right? It's not. It might be, but it may not. So I went and looked at Stereo A, and Stereo A hasn't updated yet. We're going to have to wait on that data, all right? I tried, but both sites don't have it. So what that means is the data hasn't been given to them yet. Doesn't mean it's missing yet. It just means it hasn't been updated. So we're going to have to wait and see on that, but I can't tell you for sure whether or not this one's going to come at Earth yet. And there's other places we can go look, like here, the CME tracker. But like I said before, this one here it's showing you is the one that happened yesterday. It's not going nowhere near Earth. That's why I didn't even talk about it. It's small to begin with. But at the same time, we've now it's had 6 or 8 hours. It just hasn't updated yet. This thing is, it's getting more and more lag time, I guess. It could be because of staffing or whatever with these kinds of things. But this is NASA's version of this model. And there's another version of this model right here. This is NOAA's version of the model. Now they're using the same data sets and stuff, but they're entered into their modeling. Their models are different. They're taking certain things at different ratios. Okay, that's why they differ. Just like a hurricane model. I've explained that before. It's the same thing. You get different organizations with different models. They're all seeing the same data, but they're plugging it in, and the models take it in consideration differently, different percentages. So yeah. Okay. Oh, is Jamie in here? I didn't see. I got an email. She was asking me about weather systems. I'm a weather buff since I was a kid, right? I mean, I was extremely afraid of thunderstorms, so it caused me to really dive into weather. And, you learn very quick, like the Coriolis effect when we're talking about hurricanes and things like that. And that's the direction of their spin. So when we're talking about that, she was asking, how come sometimes we'll see a storm system that's spinning one direction in the northern hemisphere, then you'll have another system right next to it spinning the opposite. Well, the reason why is because you're talking about high and low pressure. You have to turn the high and low pressure on whatever map you're looking at, and I'll do that later on. She sent me an email. I just wanted to address it real quick. Low pressure systems, which is what hurricanes are, right? That they're they're coming towards the middle. Okay, they're falling down towards that's why the pressure is lowering, so things are getting drawn in towards the middle. So because of all those effects, because of our rotation, that's why they spin counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere and clockwise in the southern hemisphere. Now, sometimes when you look at if you don't turn the high and low pressure on your map, whatever map you're looking at, you're going to think they're two different storm systems spinning opposite directions right next to each other. And that's not really what's going on. It's a high pressure right next to it, because the high pressure actually spins away. Okay, and it rises. So it spins the opposite direction because of the rotation of the Earth. It's not even a storm system, really. It's a high pressure system next to a low pressure system, is what we're talking about. Now, I will say that the polar jets and stuff have been all jacked up, okay? I've watched it for years, and they're not right. But as far as, those two next to each other, usually that's what we're seeing. Now, there are those anomalies once in a while. We'll get a hurricane or something. It doesn't happen. It's very rare. It'll spin the opposite direction. Just like tornadoes. Sometimes every once in a while, we'll see a tornado hit the ground. It's actually spinning the opposite direction than what they normally do. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at those maps. Yeah, that was just a question she had for me. I hope I probably should have pulled the map up, but we'll do that later. This live stream is going a little longer than I thought it was going to. I don't want to take up too much of your guys' time. But that's just, I've been a weather buff for a long time. That's the explanation for that. So when you're looking at those maps, just be sure you put on the pressure. You got to hit it in the key, because if you don't, it won't show you low and high pressure systems. It'll just show you what direction the winds are spinning. That's it. But you need to know whether it's low or high pressure, because they will spin opposite directions right next to each other. Has since the beginning of time. But yeah, so that's at least as long as I've been watching weather, since 35, 40 years. But she was correct in saying that they do spin opposite directions in northern and southern hemispheres. Also, in case you guys didn't know, just a little fun fact, it's very rare to see a hurricane develop within I think it's 5 degrees north-south of the equator. There's some science behind that. I need to dig into that, but I seen that fact kind of come across somewhere where I was researching some stuff. I thought that was interesting. Probably because of where it's at. Obviously, it would have location to deal with there, how we're spinning and all that. But there's a lot of science on why certain things spin certain directions. But it is explainable, because if you understand that low pressure is actually sinking and going towards the middle of that system, and you understand that we're rotating, you can kind of see how that's why they spin a certain direction. But if it's actually if you take that same air and you flip it to a high pressure, it starts going up and out away from the center, and because of our rotation, it would spin the opposite direction. So hopefully I explained that well enough. Hey, Carolyn, Jerry, what's up? Okay. So spaceweather.com is talking about this. First, what did they say it was? A C 4.8 class? Yep. And they're talking about that too, and what it did. Did they say about the radio blackouts? Yep, they were talking about that too. There were some minor radio blackouts, not no big deals, but yeah, that did happen. And my guess is with this new one that just flared, it looks like it was bigger. Okay, just a little bit. My guess is about a C5, close to it. We've seen it, like I said, guys. We know that it definitely looked bigger. You know what I mean? As far as powerful. Right about there. Okay. So yeah, I mean, we definitely know that it looked a little bit stronger than the first one. Wow. I can't believe that happened while I was online with you guys. That's cool though. So you guys seen what I do when I go look at stuff, right? So you guys can do the same, and I encourage you to do that. Don't take my word for nothing. Everything I just talked about, go look at it. You guys can go look at it. It's a simple Google search to find these links. Go to NOAA. If you go to NOAA, like right here, this is NOAA. Space Weather Prediction Center, and you scroll all the way down, look at this. You see all these? What's that say? It says models. This is all those models I pretty much just showed you. The majority of them. There's a couple there that aren't on this list. But you guys can do the same thing. Okay? And I encourage you to do that. I really want you to do that. Don't believe a word I'm saying. Please go look at it for yourself and make up your own mind. And if you got questions, maybe I can help you with it. And, I try to be correct in what I do. If I don't know the answer to something, typically I'll try to find it and ask somebody that does know. And that's what I try to do. So I do want to say, guys, like I said, please go over here and look. You can't jack this up. Go look at it. At the very least, you'll have a better visual understanding of what I'm talking about when you come here. And you'll have a better understanding of everything that's going on. Don't think that you're not smart enough, because I get that comment a lot in my emails. People don't think that they can understand this stuff, and you can. If my hillbilly butt can understand it, I promise you, you can too. Promise you. Okay? So please, just do that. I don't want anybody, I just want to show you observation and show you the data. And that's really what I'm here for, and to show you guys how to navigate to get to these places, so you can make up your own mind on what you're seeing and what you're going to believe and what you think things are. So I really hope people do. Yes, you're right, Ricky. It's worth the time, guys. I mean, put down the phone with, Angry Birds or whatever you're playing on it for a second, and go get interested in something like this. And believe it or not, once you do finally grasp a little bit of what I'm talking about here, it'll draw you in. And then you'll really want to go look at it more. And just know. At least that's the way it was for me. So, I appreciate that, Carolyn. I really, that's my goal. I want people to know the tools, and then, they can have whatever opinion after that they want. They can believe or, whatever they want to believe. And I'm not mad at anybody for believing anything. I try to give everybody a good platform and a good open whatever. So I hope that people understand that, and I really hope that that's what they do. They go look. That is my goal. I want you guys to go look. Because I failed so many times in the past on my channel, especially early on, thinking I knew something, and I didn't. Made myself sound like ridiculous. Completely ridiculous. Just because I didn't go look. I was trying to rush out there with information. I would see like this flare right here. I was trying to rush out there and get that. We got to have patience. What good is it going to do if the CME is going to take 3 to 4 or 5 days to get here? Why do I have to run right out in like a minute and a half and try to get out there? The only reason to do that is to try to be the first out there to try to get views. And guys, you guys know that's simply not my goal here. I would rather be correct in what I'm saying than try to jump out there and be the first to say it. Because if you go look around, you'll find out who's doing that and who's not. And like I said, I'm humble enough to tell you guys I used to do that very early on in my channel. And I really had to step back and be like, hey man, let's make sure I'm correct before I jump out here, because it really doesn't, we got time. We got time. So anyway, I think I am going to go ahead and cut it here, guys. We went a lot longer than I thought we were going to. But yeah, so just kind of keep your eye to the sky and just look around. Please go look at these tools. I guess if you guys wanted me to, I could put all these links to these things in my description box. If you guys want me to do that, I can do that. Okay. If that makes it easier for you guys. Or you can simply go to Space Weather Prediction Center. It's seriously that simple. Here. There it is. Right there. All you got to do is click on that, scroll to the bottom, and you will get a humongously head start on what you're looking at. Go down here to models. And what's good about these especially is you can click on them and they'll give you an explanation on what you're looking at. Okay? Let me show you where to find that at real quick. Let's go here. Now this is Discover. Okay? It's one of the tools you would click on at the bottom, right? So if you scroll down, right here's your description of what you're looking at. It will tell you exactly what you're looking at. And what's good about this is it's in front of your face, you're seeing it visually, and if you don't understand a word, guess what you can do? Google it. Then you can have a better understanding. So, that's kind of what I'm trying to get at here. Hey, Marcelo, what's up? So I'll post that in there again real quick. And so that's Space Weather Prediction Center right there. You can get to all of these models right here. And there's a couple more that I use, but the majority of them are coming from there, just simply because that's where they're at. Here I'll show you guys. Let's go here to ISWA real quick, and you guys can. This is another great site, guys. Okay. Again, this is not. Notice what it says in the URL. This is NASA. The other one I just showed you was NOAA. Those are two different agencies. So you're going to get two different looks most of the time. Now, they carry some of the same models, and if you're over here, there's the ISWA link. If you're over here at ISWA, and I wasn't planning on doing this, like I said, but if I go here, if I want to go look at Stereo A right here, I click on that once, watch what happens. You see this? It gives you this smaller information box. All you got to do is hover over it, and it'll tell you what the model's trying to show you. So if I go to, let's just go back here to this, okay? Here's Stereo A's version of the Extreme Ultraviolet. There you go. It's going to tell you exactly what you're looking at and where it's looking from. It'll give you an idea of where the satellite's at. So I really hope you guys do that because, there's so many things. Heliosphere, there's a lot of models here you can look at. Magnetosphere, lots of models we can look at there. Obviously, we look at this one a lot, the magnetosphere models. And then we got ionosphere stuff, planetary spacecraft stuff. You can go to the Cygnets and go back in history and look at some of the archived data. So yeah, there's a lot of good sources out there, and the majority of them, what we look at, either come from NOAA or they come from ISWA. That's the majority of all of them. So I am going to go ahead and get out of here, guys. Please go over and check out Mark Pires. I dropped his link earlier. He's in my description. He's doing a really cool thing right now, doing Batmark versus Supermark, doing a movie thing, and it's funny. It's great. So if you guys could, go check him out. I'm going to go over there right now and go check out the chat and go sit in there for a while, talk to my brothers and my sisters. So I am going to go ahead and cut out, guys. So God bless. Yahusha saves, and you can drink